Hello everyone, welcome back to your IoT session. So in this unit, in this particular session, we are going to discuss about your third unit. Okay, that is nothing but your IoT design methodologies. So let me explain you the basics exactly what we are going to learn in this particular IoT design methodologies is nothing but. We know that IoT system generally consists of many different type of components, right? And even they have many different type of deployment types. So IoT system generally consists of many different type of components. And apart from that, it also consists of many different type of deployment tiers. So I think you people know very much familiar with what do you mean by deployment tier is nothing but what levels. What are the different levels here? So based upon our application, whatever we are going to create using this IoT system, we have different levels that we have seen in the first unit. And if you don't remember it, you can just watch my previous videos so that you can understand. So basically, there are six different type of IoT levels what we have, and based upon our requirement, we will be using any one of the levels in order to execute our application. So here this IoT design methodology, why it has come up is, since IoT systems generally consist of vast number of components, there are huge number of components that are available. And in order to perform one particular kind of application, to develop one particular kind of application or to implement some kind of system, we definitely require a large of components that we need to deploy in a real time in the environment. And from that, we need to grab the information. What kind of information is whatever? Maybe like, for example, weather monitoring system we wanted to design. So what we are going to do, we definitely require different kind of devices. Those are nothing but we call it as components. Like for reading the temperature, for reading the humidity, for reading the pressure, all this we require devices. And that devices are nothing but the components. And these components will be deployed in the real world environment. And from there, the data will be gathered. Okay. So basically, we might be using different kind of levels. So which level we are going to use? Either from 1 to 6, any one of the level we are going to use based upon the cloud services, whatever we are using. Now here in this particular thing, as there are many different type of components are available, and at the same time the different type of levels are available. So whenever we want, first of all, we need to design the IoT system for that particular application. So here the designers have placing a many problem. I mean, these designers, when these scientists or the one who is trying to design this particular component, they are actually feeling troublesome in designing the entire system. Why? Because these many components are there, and these many everything has to be controlled manually or automatically, or it should be automated. So it becomes very difficult for them to understand where to means how to design that particular thing. So to overcome that particular problem, this particular unit is going to get you a generic design methodology. Generic means it will be away from the different components whatever you are using or the different type of deployment types you people are using. Apart from that, this is a generalized design methodology that has been provided. So in this unit, actually, we will be looking around some 10 steps. So based on that step, you people can design any kind of IoT application, or you people can design any kind of IoT system. So that's let's begin without wasting any time. Let's get into it. So this is the content related to it. I think these are the 10 steps what we have. We are going to discuss in this particular unit. Something called as purpose and process requirements. So what is the main purpose of the developing of that particular IoT system? Definitely there should be some kind of purpose. Then only we develop it. And in order to satisfy or in order to fulfill that particular purpose, what are the different requirements we do have? What are the different requirements we have in order to satisfy that purpose that we are going to specify here, basically. And based on that particular specifications, we'll enter into process specification. Process specification means how these requirement specifications, whatever the components we have developed, we have what are the different components we require. These components, how we can process it, means how these can be connected together and how they can perform the operation that we are going to see in this particular process specification. And once that is done, the immediate step what we have is your domain model specification. Means on what particular domain our IoT system which we are developing will work on. Because we have different like weather monitoring means it will be the IoT system what I'm going to develop right now. So that will work on weather systems. Okay, weather in the sense nothing but the temperature, pressure, humidity based. If I am trying to develop an application or develop an IoT system for noise monitoring, So okay, so within the city, so definitely that comes under a different kind of domain. What kind of domain it is nothing but noise-based sound. So I might be using some other different type of components like ultrasonic sensors or some other kind of sound sensors using which I will try to gather the information. So here that is what we call domain. Same way if you are trying to develop a IoT system based upon your air pollution monitoring, and based on that definitely the domain will change. So here the domain, this is what we are going to discuss in this particular model specification. Then we have something called information model. Well, okay, domain model is done. So we got the domain on which we are going to work on or develop that particular IoT system. Now we need information related to it, means how these models are going to work, how we are going to make this particular model work. So that information will be specified in this particular step. And then what are the services we have provided by that particular IoT system? So based upon the domain model and the information model, whatever the information we are getting here, so based on that, so some services are provided by that particular system. Now, what are the services we do have that we are going to see in this particular service specification? And then we have IoT level specification. Well, I already told you that we have from 1 to 6, total 1 to 6 different type of levels. Okay, so among this we can use. Here in this particular unit, we will be taking the case study of two different type of systems. One is your home automation system, which I will explain when I am explaining you these particular steps. Home automation system. Okay, so this particular home automation system case study, I will be taking as an example in order to explain all the different steps what we have here. Okay, so this will be using level 1. So it uses level 1 IoT. And after that, finally in the end, we have another case study that is your weather monitoring system. Now this will be using level 6. We already discussed in the first unit related to it. If no one remembers it, you can just watch my previous videos. This is a YouTube channel from where you can access it. So level 6. So the weather monitoring system will be using level 6, and using that we are going to deploy all the components, and these components will be integrated to work along. Okay, and then we have something, the next step is related to your functional view specification. Now in this particular step, what we are going to do is, what are the different functions our system is going to perform. Like for example, for a weather monitoring system, we might be deploying the sensors, and that sensors will be performing some kind of function, like they might be reading the temperature from the environment, they might be determining the what we call the pressure. Same way, they might be trying to determine the what we call pressure, humidity, all that information, right? So these are the functions that have been performed by the different sensors. That information is represented here. Okay, and then finally, what we have is your operational. So how these sensors are going to operate, how the operationally means, so these are going to get connected, how these devices are connected to our cloud. Okay, or whatever the controller service we have, how these are connected to that controller service, from the control service, how it is connected to the cloud. That information we are going to see in this particular step, operational. Okay, and the last but before one is the device and component integration. Obviously, we are saying that IoT system basically consists of different type of components as different type of devices. Now, definitely these devices and the components need to be integrated with each other. Then only it will become a one particular system. For example, if I take your personal computer or your laptop consists of many different type of components, right? Your RAM is a separate component. Your hard disk, that is a separate component. Your keyboard, it's a separate component. Now all these components need to be, your monitor is a separate component, right? And say your DVD writer or CD writer, whatever we have, that is a separate component. Now all these components need to be integrated together so that it becomes a laptop, isn't it? Then only it can provide the functionalities. So that is what here we are going to see with respect to your IoT. And the last but not the least is your application development. So here definitely we require a web application to control these devices. Okay, so that application we are going to see in this particular scenario. So basically any IoT system you wanted to develop, you have to go through these particular steps. These 10 steps are most important, and based upon these 10 steps, you people can perform the different, you can create the different IoT systems. Okay, let's go ahead with the first one. Yeah, these are the 10 steps which I have shown you pictorially here. So if you see here, the first one is something but requirements. Okay, let me change the, yeah. The first one is something called as purpose and requirements. So what is the main purpose for developing the IoT system, and what are the different requirements that a particular system has, that we need to identify. Once this identification is done, we will go for the different process model, means how that particular model is going to work. Whatever the IoT system we want to design, how it is going to work, that we have defined. So we will be defining here the use cases related to it. So this is from your UML diagram. I think you people are very much familiar with your unified modeling language. From there, you people are going to assess this use case. We have some around 9 diagrams, right? Class diagram, deployment, class diagram, object diagram, use case diagram, then we have deployment diagram, component diagram. So here the use case. So we, in the process model specification, we will be defining the use cases using which we will be coming to know how the system is going to work. And then we need to describe about the domain models and what domain we are going to working on. Like in domain model, we have something called as physical entities. Means what are the components we are using physically in order to perform the operation. And every physical entity will have a virtual entity. That's for sure. This is a digital representation. This virtual entity is nothing but it's a digital representation of your physical entity. Both are almost same. So every physical entity will have a one virtual entity. Then what are the different devices we are going to use in order to make that system, and the resources what we are going to use, and the different services these resources and the devices are going to provide in order to make this as a full-fledged IoT system is what we are going to learn in your domain model specification. Then comes the information model specification. So here we will be having the structure, how we are going to place, where we are going to place the devices, and how we are going to relate between the, so here it will consist of some set of attributes between the objects. So we'll be having multiple objects here. Every device will be acting as an object here, and these objects, how they are interrelated with other objects. What is the relationship exists between one object and another object? That information we are going to provide in this information model specification. And then we have services. So definitely once this information domain model and information model has been defined here, so definitely they are going to provide some services, like devices might provide some kind of services. Okay, the controllers might provide some kind of services. So all the services, whatever are there, we are going to map it up with our framework. Whatever the IoT framework we have, in the first unit, we discussed about the IoT communication model. So there we have seen some different parameters like communication, management, database management, all these things. So how these are going to provide services, that we will be seeing in this particular step. And then comes the level specification. You are very much familiar. We do have some 6 levels. So which level we are going to apply based upon the scenario we will be coming across. As I told you that for home automation, we are going to use level 1. And for your weather monitoring system, we will be using level 6. Okay. And next is functional view specification. So in functional view specification, what we are exactly going to do is we are going to map the IoT level to the functional groups. Means whatever the functions the system is going to provide, what are the functions that the system means the devices are going to perform, that we are going to map it up in this. What are the different functions are provided, that we are going to see here. Then the operational functions, what are going to be done, like storage options, what we have, device options. So we might be having many different type of devices. So which device to use, which services we need to use. In the first unit, we discussed about web services, right? We have REST-based APIs, communication APIs. We discussed about REST APIs, and then we discussed about something called as WebSocket APIs, right? So I think you people remember it. So these are the one which we are going to see. So what kind of service we can use? Mostly we will be focusing on RESTful APIs. And then what are the communication options we do have? Then we have something called device and component integration. So how we can integrate these different devices and all, we are going to see in this particular session. Okay, let's begin the topic. The last one is application. Developing an application using some kind of platform like NetBeans. Here we are going to use Django. I don't know how many of you know that Django is a platform we are going to use. This is because here, whatever the coding in this particular unit, so the coding, whatever is done using Python. Okay, so using Python language, the coding has been done. So this particular language can be implemented using this Django. Like Java, we can use NetBeans, right? NetBeans, we have Eclipse. Same way for Python, we do have a Django, and this is the one which we are going to focus more on, Django services as well as Python. So let's begin with the first step. what do you mean by purpose and requirement? So here, this particular step defines what is the main purpose for developing that particular IoT system. And basically, in order to develop that system, what are the basic requirements are there in order to get or to develop that means infrastructure that particular system. So here we will be performing different kind of things like data collection. So who is going to collect the data? And then we need to perform something called as data analysis. So how to perform this data analysis? What are the requirements in order to perform the data analysis? Same with the entire system has to be managed by someone, right? We cannot simply construct a system and leave it as it is. Then it may not be functioning properly. There should be someone who can monitor that system perfectly from time to time, and based on the requirements, it can perform modifications. Then, since these devices are going to collect different kind of data, we need to provide security. Means that data collected by the devices will be stored in the cloud. Now, we need to provide a security that this data cannot be accessed by a third party. So for that, what are the requirements we do have? Okay, and then finally we have a user interface. Nothing but you are developing an app in a smartphone, and using that smartphone, you are trying to control the devices which are being deployed in real-time scenario. So for that, whatever is required, that we need. So for all these things, so the requirements or purposes are required. So here, let us take an example of your smart home automation system. So if you talk about the smart home automation system, so let me explain you what do you mean by this is nothing but your entire auto home is actually automated. Means what happens is your system is based upon your requirement. The power of your, I mean the lights within your home may be automatically turned on or off. For example, let us suppose it is the evening around 6 o'clock, there will be a darkness, right? So the system, we will be deploying a system which will automatically try to detect the light intensity within the network. I mean within that particular room. If it is very dark, if it is dark, automatically it will turn on the light. You don't have to go and switch on the light. So that is what we call home. Not only that, even you will be able to control your mobile, your other appliances like your smart TV or like your AC. You want your room to be cooled before you enter into that particular room. So you can automatically control using your smartphone. You will develop an application. Already your IoT has been deployed there in your home room. So you will be giving orders from here. Okay, so you will be giving instructions from here that the room should get a temperature should be at the set, means the AC should be set at the temperature 25 degrees. Automatically it will room, I mean the entire room will be cool. Okay, automatically the warmness will be moving out and automatically your entire room will become cool before you are entering into your system. That is what we call it as home automation system. Now, basically, if you see, what is the purpose? For this example, we set purpose. What is the main purpose for this particular smart home automation system is? We want to control the lights in the home. As I told you, okay, so that we are going to do with the help of a web application. See, using a web application, we are going to do that. So what exactly we want to do is we want to control the lights. Based upon our requirements, we want to control. Means we don't want to go every time switch on the light, switch off the light. Based upon the scenario and based upon the conditions we have provided, the IoT system should itself either turn off the light or turn on that particular light automatically. So that is the reason we are doing it. Now, based on that, what is the behavior? How the system should behave? Well, actually, there are two modes how we can make the system behave. One is your auto mode, another is manual. Automate in the sense we will be writing a program, okay, where we will give the preconditions to that particular system, the IoT system. And based on the preconditions, the system will automatically try to detect the intensity of the light in the room. If it is very dark, automatically it will turn on the light. If it is very bright in the room, it will turn off the light. So who is going to do that? The system itself is going to do. There is no manual kind of thing, means going on, switching on, that kind of thing is not there. That is what we call it as auto mode. Manual mode in the sense, using a smartphone, you people will be developing a web application. Using this web application, you people can anytime can switch on the lights or you can switch off the lights. So these are the two modes what we have. So this is the way how your IoT system is going to behave. And the third one is system management requirements. So what is required in order to manage the entire system? Definitely we require some kind of controlling and mechanism, monitoring mechanism. There should be someone who can monitor. Who is monitoring here? The user itself is monitoring. We are using a web application to monitor it. So using the web application, we are trying to monitor the system, and whenever we want, we can switch on in our smartphone within the application, you can turn the particular light on or off depending upon the whatever the application we have designed. So who is monitoring it? The user can itself directly monitor it. Then we have something called as data analysis requirement. So whatever the data is gathered every day, who is going to analysis it? So that information need to be stored somewhere locally, and from there we can perform the analysis. Well, we are simply talking about home automation system, so we don't require anything called as cloud related information here. That's why we are using level 1. We are using level 1 IoT system rather than using something. Okay, so level 1 doesn't require, means locally itself we can analyze the data. We'll be having a system in our home which will actually store all the data that is captured by the devices, and there only we can perform the operation. We don't require any cloud services for this. Next, we have something called as application deployment requirements. So if you talk about this application deployment requirement, what we are going to do is, here we will deploy this particular service. It means whatever the IoT devices we have to deploy it within our room. Okay, and that particular devices should be able to accessible by us. Okay, remotely, means using a smartphone, you should be able to access that particular devices. So that whenever you want, you can turn it on. Whenever you want, you can turn it off. That thing should be provided. So that is what been represented. So this is what the design. These are the purposes. So this is your first step, purpose and the requirements. So what are the purpose we have? Allow controlling of lights in a home automation. Behavior is either it can be done automatically or it can be done manually. So what are the system management requirements? The user is going to manage it for monitoring and controlling the functions. Data analysis has to be done, and that should be done in the locally since we are not using any cloud for home automation. Okay. And then we have last is application deployment requirements. So what, in order to deploy it, what we require? We require actually relays. We call it as actuators. Okay, there we require a relay switch which will turn on the system, I mean the light on and off. So that is what we require. Same security mechanism. Okay, obviously whatever the data we have that need to be authenticated and all, that should be present here. The very next step is your process specification. So in this, what we are going to see is how we, based upon the purpose and the requirement specifications, whatever the requirements we have gathered, we will be converting that into a use case. Okay, whatever the requirements we have gathered in the first step, we will try to convert that into use case, okay, pictorially, so that we can identify what exactly we want. What are the things we require? What are the different devices we require? How this can be integrated? All that information will define in a format of a diagram. So that diagram is nothing but use case, and this is what we have taken from your UML. Okay, we do have 9 diagrams in UML, so this is one of the diagrams from that. So here, so this is the diagram related to it. If you can see here, this is the diagram related to your home automation system. So here, what is this? First, this is a circle. Now, this circle represents a process. Means the process has started. This indicates that the circle indicates that the process has started. And what about this diamond? Now, this diamond represents the decision. So whenever the system has to take some decision, we use this particular symbol. And this rectangle symbol represents what information, like operation, what operations is performed, like some what kind of any kind of operation has been performed, or some information need to be provided. That information is provided by this particular rectangle. So you can see here in home automation system, as I told you, there are two different modes we do have: automatic mode or manual. If you talk about automated mode, so what is the function of automated mode? It has to detect the light levels. Okay, so based upon the light levels within the room, it will take a decision. What is the decision? If the intensity of the light within the room is low, so it is going to automatically turn that light on. If the intensity of the light within the room is very high, means it is like during the morning time, then it will automatically turn the system off, means the state of the particular light is off. So this is done automatically. Same way we have a manual representation using a web application. Here what we are going to have, here light level is there, here the light state. So right now what state it is, whether within the room your lights are turned on or off, that is what determines. If the user is setting the state as on, the light state as on, the system will turn on the light. If the user is setting using a web application the state of the light as off, then the system will automatically off that particular light. So this is done manually by the user, and this will be done by the system. So this is done by a machine. This is purely done by a machine. Machine is nothing but your IoT system. Okay. Now this is also, now if you come to this is also done by your IoT system itself. But the user is physically involved in this. Based upon if the user is typing that, okay, turn off that particular light, then automatically the system will turn off. If it is he saying turn on the light, it will automatically turn on that particular light. So this is what related to, this is the second step related to your process specification. So here, this whatever I have explained here, that is what represented here in this particular. So what are the two modes of operations we have? Auto and manual. So auto means automatically the system, based upon the intensity of light. If it is very low, the system will turn on, else it will turn off. Manually means depends upon the user. If the user is setting the state as on, the system will set the state as on, else it will be off. And whereas coming to the diagram, as I told you, circle represents the start of a process, diamond represents the decision box, and then finally the rectangle, which represents the state of the attribute. So what kind of state that particular system is, that is what represented here in this particular video. Next, we have something called as domain model specification. So in this particular model specification, what we are going to do? So here the thing says, what are the different entities we require, everything related to it, like what are the objects, what is the main concept of this particular IoT system that we are designing. Okay, and apart from that, I'm taking class, so I come within a half an hour. Yes, sir. Sorry, just now. Yeah, sorry for the interruption here. Okay, so here, what is saying exactly in the domain model specification is that we are going to discuss about the main concepts what we have in this particular model. So what are the different, what are the different devices we require, how these devices will be connecting with each other, that information we are going to provide. So here, these are the main things what we have to focus on, the main concept for what we are developing the IoT system. Apart from that, what are the different objects we require and how these objects are, since we will be having multiple objects here, in the IoT system, how these objects are going to be designed and how we can show the relationship between these objects and the different attributes what we have. That is what represented in this particular scenario. Apart from that, it is going to provide you only the abstract representation. Remember, the domain model can represent you only the abstract representation, okay, not the entire specific means how it is implemented, how the functions are going to be implemented, that information will not be provided. It simply tells that this device is going to perform this operation. This device means another device, like, the temperature sensor will perform a temperature. It will read the temperature, store the information in the cloud or in the local data server. That is what, but how that is done, how the sensor is going to read the data and how that information will be transferred, that information is not provided. It generally basically represents the abstract representation. Okay, let's take an example of your home automation system and see how it works. So if you talk about entities here, we do have a physical entity. So coming to the physical entity means we are going to see what are the domains we require. So for coming to the physical entity, what are the domains we require is we require a room because we are talking about home automation system. So definitely we require a physical thing is entity here is room, and within the room there should be a light, and along with the light we need appliances. Appliances are required to control the light within a room. Okay, so based upon the appliance is nothing but your web application. So using that application you may turn on a light on or off within a particular room. That is what he means to say in this here physical entity. Then we have virtual entity. Then we have devices, resources, services, and okay. So these are the one what we have. So if you see here properly, carefully, virtual entity, as I told you in the beginning of the session, that virtual entity is nothing but it is a representation of a physical entity in a digital format. That is what he's saying, digital world. So whatever the physical entity you people are saying, room, light, and appliances, these will be represented in a format of digital. Like light will have, like we are saying, light turn on or off. So means on in the sense nothing but you may be using 1 for turning on, you might be using a digitally 0 for turning off that particular light. Okay, so that is what he means to say a virtual entity. So every physical entity will have one virtual entity, that's for sure, and that is usually represented in a digital format, that is either 0 or 1. So whenever you want to turn on your light, you will simply, so in the web application, you will simply click on the on button. but internally the digital word 1 will be transmitted. This integer value will be transmitted, and based on that, automatically the lights will turn on. And same way, if you want to off it up, you will be sending a 0, and then based on that, that particular light will be turned off. Then what about the devices? What are the devices we require here? So here the devices provide some interaction between the physical and virtual entities. So what are the different devices we require? Temperature, physical, like that, temperature for weather. So here what are the devices we require here is light sensor. So we require relay switches. Based on that, we need to work on. So that is what comes under devices. If you talk about resources here, what do you mean by resource here? Is nothing but it's a software component. Resources are nothing but these are basically the software components, and these components can be either present on device or they can be present on a network resource. On device is different, means within a device we may be having a software using which few people might be performing operation. Whereas coming to network resources here is nothing but the example what we can give for the network resource is your database. You might be using database for storing the information, right, locally. So that comes under your network resource. This is a resource related to your network. On device in the sense nothing but if you are using any kind of application within the device, that comes under resource here. And whereas coming to services, well, services, what it does, it actually provides an interface. Interface for what? Physical entity. What are the physical entities we are using? Room, light. So there should be some kind of interface between this light and home appliances, right? The appliances is another kind of physical entity which is present in your, there's a software in your mobile phone. And light is nothing but it is a bulb. So that bulb or a tube light, that comes under physical. So here in order to provide interface, we require services. So these are what comes under your domain model specification. Nothing but whatever the domains we require in order to create a one particular IoT system is what is presented here. Now if you look at here, we also have a diagram related to it. You can see here. This is the diagram related to it. You can see here, on the top we are having a user here, and in between we have something called as a active digital artifact. So indirectly what it means to say is this is the application. This is a web-based application which the user will be using a smartphone. In the smartphone, this user will be using this particular application. So who is going to use that? The human as a user will be going to use it. Now, as I told you, there will be physical entity, and for every physical entity, we'll be having a virtual entity. So you can see there are two physical entities. We have room and appliances, and those two have a virtual entity, room and appliances. Means whatever the entities physically we have, this will have a digital representation like this, 0010, number of bits, whatever we have like this. Based on these numbers only, it will going to perform the operation. And apart from that, we have something called as devices. Now, these devices will perform different. What are the devices we have? So definitely we require a mini computer. Small computer is required in order to execute whatever the sensors we are deploying. So what are the different sensors we are deploying here? We are deploying LDR. That is nothing but your light sensor. And another one is the actuator. Actuators are used to make a switch to turn on the switch off or on. Okay, whenever you want to switch off a particular bulb, so we need to automatically use actuators, and these actuators will turn, means they will stop the electricity passing to that particular bulb. Okay, so whenever you're turning on, it will pass, this actuator will pass the electricity to that particular bulb. So this is what, so these are the two sensors we are using, and the device here is the main mini computer, and this mini computer is going to handle these two, something called as light sensor and actuator. Now here we also have another one, something called as resources. We already discussed. We have network resources and on-device resources. On-device means nothing but on the physical devices, whatever the resources we are using. Who are going to host this one? The device. So mini computer might have some application, some operating. So here on-device resource you can say operating system. Like in your laptop, you might be using Windows 8 or Windows 7 operating system. Same way, the mini computer will have some kind of operating system related to IoT that is going to be deployed here. Network resource, as I told you, the database, whatever we are using, that comes under your network database. So what are the connections are provided here? You can see this is a one way. So you can see wherever only a single arrow is there, that's a one way association. Wherever filled solid arrow is there, that is the generalization, means inheritance concept that has come up here. And then the last one, this is related to UML diagram. That is, this like something like a class diagram, you can say. This is one type of class diagram represented for your domain model specification. So diamond wherever solid, diamond wherever you people can see, that comes under your aggregation relationship. I hope it's very clear. This is the way how we need to design it up. So basically we are going to see the designing part only mostly here related to this. And the next step, what we have here is the information model specification. So what do you mean by here? Information model is nothing but the structure. Whatever the structure you people are going to design for that particular IoT system, that we are going to represent here. And within the structure, we'll be having set of entities. Okay, that is nothing but we call it as attributes related to a virtual entity, physical entity, and the relationship between different objects. Suppose we have a one object here and we have another object here. So in between, I want to show some kind of relation. Okay, like this object is for sending a signal to turn this. This is a relay switch. This is one object. So this particular object means will send a signal as 0. What does that mean? I want to turn off the light. So this relay will cut the electricity to that particular bulb, whichever we are using. Okay, so whenever I'm sending a one signal, it will again restart passing the electricity to that particular device, and the bulb will start glowing now. So that is what comes under in this particular concept. So we'll see with the help of example, we'll come to know. So it actually describes now what are the different informations are represented, how it is stored, what are the different database we can use, and how we are going to store the information perfectly. So basically, actually, virtual entities in the previous diagram we have seen that there are two physical devices, and for the two physical devices we have only two virtual entities. So that is what represented here in this particular thing. So one virtual entity, we require for the light appliances to turn the light, means in order to determine what state that particular light is, whether it is on or off, that we require. Another virtual entity is required for that particular room. What is the level of that particular room, whether it is very dark, whether it is lightly dark, whether it is glowing, that particular room. That is another virtual entity we are going to use. Now this is the diagram related to that your information model system. So here basically we'll be talking about, since I told you there are two virtual entities, one is for the room and another is for your light appliances. So if you see what type of entity type is room, this is ID, means that is simply a room. But whereas coming to the entity type for here light appliances, it is an application. You can see here entity type is room. Okay, this is physical entity. And whereas coming to entity type here, light appliance, this is nothing but your web application, which you people might be using in your smartphone. That comes under here appliances. That there is a difference here. And what is the attribute level set for this particular room is what is the level of the light, means what is the intensity of the light present in that particular room. That is what represented as your light level. And whereas coming to the light appliances, what is the attribute is we have a state, whether the particular light is turned on, whether that particular light is turned off, that state is represented. So is in a state turn on or is it in a state turn off? What about the intensity of the light? Either it can be high or it can be low. If it is low, you need to set the state on. If it is high, you need to set the state off. So this way it actually works. Okay, I hope it's very clear with this. You might have understood. So the next one is your service specifications. What are the different services are provided? So in the home automation system, it provides different type of services. Like what different type of services we do have? What are the services related to the input and output? We are giving some input. Means the sensors are reading some input, and based on that, they are providing some output. So what are the different services we have that has been represented? Then we have service endpoints. So where exactly the services are going to integrate with each other? That comes under your service endpoint. Then we have service schedules. And what are the preconditions for the services? Like I told you, if you talk about your air conditioning, you're setting your air conditioning to 25 degrees. This is the precondition that before entering into the room, you want to make sure that if the temperature within the room is less than, greater than 25 degrees, the AC should turn on, isn't it? And if the temperature room is less than 25, automatically the AC should turn off. What you're doing, you people are already providing a precondition. Okay, same way for your micro oven, if you talk about microwave, you do some preconditioning heating, right? You set the temperature of 360 means within the microwave, you people are setting a temperature of around 360 degrees centigrade. And after that, you are placing something in order to cook it up. That is what we call precondition. So that services are also provided here. And because of the service, what are the effects we do have that we can see? Now this is a diagram. Now, let me explain it. Let me take some time to explain this. If you see here, I think you people, this is a one type of diagram. I think you people know what kind of diagram is this. We have seen in the this is the diagram of your process specification. And what about this one? This is the diagram you people have seen it. Where you have seen this particular diagram? Can anyone tell me? Well, actually, this is the diagram related to your. Just now we have seen it previously, right? That is the diagram. It has been represented here. That is nothing but information. We have seen information model, right? So that information model is actually consisting of this body. So using information model and the process specification, this is your information model specification. So using information model and process specification, what are the different services are provided that we are representing here? So basically there are three services that are represented here. One is a mode service. Mode means we need to set the mode either to automatic or manual. So that services are provided by this particular process specification. And what about this particular information model specification? It provides controller service. What is the control service we already discussed? If the intensity of the light within the room is high, automatically the system should turn off the light, or if it is auto mode. Okay, if the intensity of the particular light is low within the room, this is a room entity, right? So within the room, if the intensity is low, the automatically the light should be turned on if it is automatic mode. But if it is a manual mode, the user will decide whether it should be turned off or turned on. Okay, I hope it's very clear with this. This is the way we provide services. And apart from this controller and mode service, we have a state service too. What do you mean by state service is nothing but determining the current state of your light, your bulb, whether it is turned on, whether it is turned off. That information is provided by this particular state service. So basically, in your service specifications, we have only three different type of services: mode service, state service, and controller service. So if you talk about here, the next one, this is what we have related to your state service. If you see, this is a service, service, service. But which one comes under which one means this is a controller service, this is your mode service, and this is your state service. State service has the output of whether the particular light is turned on or off. What it will have an input of whether the state is on or off. Okay, and which particular, what we discussed about endpoints, right? Service endpoint. So using what this particular state information is transmitted from the IoT devices to the appliances is nothing but here you can see HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and we use that in which layer? Application layer. This HTTP we use it at application layer. I think you people might be familiar. We already discussed in your first unit the layers what we have. So in the application layer. So this is the endpoint. So using this particular application layer protocol, the system will try to provide a service for this particular state, whether it is on or off. Based on that, it will provide the output. If the state is on, it will send the information to the user saying that the state is on. If the state is off, it will send the user. This is the service provided. Okay. And whereas coming to mode can be a two modes, that is auto and manual. You can see here the current mode auto or manual. What is the input you are going to get, whether auto or manually you want to perform it, that we are going to give it up. Same way you have endpoint. So we using HTTP only, we can communicate with different devices, these devices. Okay. I hope it's very clear here. So using HTTP, you will be communicating, these devices will be communicating with HTTP protocol. Okay, so you should have an internet connection, then only we can perform this. So the devices will send the information whether it is an auto mode. So that auto mode will be provided as the output to the user application within a smartphone. The user application in a smartphone, it will display. Same if you talk about your services here, what service is it? It is a controller. Controller, what is that, what exactly it does? It will try to monitor it. It will try to monitor it. Okay, whether it is what state it is, and based on that, it may take some actions. So that is what represented in this particular scenario. It's very easy to understand. Okay, this is all. These are the examples related to your home automation system. Okay, the sixth step what we have here is IoT level specification. Well, basically I told you that there are around 6 different type of levels we have, and for the home automation we are going to use a single level 1 specification. Now this is the level, this is the IoT level we are going to use, where you can see that we are not using any kind of cloud services here. Within the local, you have a database within locally. So whatever the information is gathered, that will be stored in the database. And using the REST services, REST, I think you people know, this is a communication API. So using this, we will be communicated. This app is nothing but within the smartphone, you people have developed an application which is executing. That comes under NGIS. Then we have controller service. I think you might have understood now what do you mean by controller. In the previous diagram, we have seen it. Controller service, resources, and devices. And we will be having a single monitor node which will be monitoring the intensity of the light. So if you see here, the database is locally present. We are not storing any information gathered by this particular sensor into the cloud. Locally, we'll be storing the information and will execute the entire thing. And the very next step what we have is functional view specification. So here the different type of functions, what the system is going to perform, that we are going to represent it. And these functions, similar kind of functions, we will be computing that into a functional groups. Okay. So let me first show you up and then we can see. Everything we already know, we already discussed in the previous application, I mean first unit, that only we are combining it now in order to develop one particular IoT system. So if you see here, what are the similar type of functions are there that we will be converting into a functional group. Now this functional view will consist of different type of groups. Like something like we have a device, this is a functional group. Now in the devices, what are the devices we might be using here? Like a single board mini computer. We have a light sensor for detecting whether the light is turned on or off. And then based on that, we need to take action. For that, we have something called as relay switches. So using relay switches, we are performing the operation. And since these devices need to be communicating with each other, we definitely require some communication mechanism. So we require communication protocols. And we have seen in the first unit, the layers. If you talk about the link layer, we are going to use 802.11. And if you talk about the network layer, we might be using either IPv4 or IPv6. That is nothing but Internet Protocol version 4 and 6. And then if you go to the next layer, that is nothing but your transport layer, we have TCP and UDP. But here we are using TCP. Why? Because we are not storing information in the cloud. Locally we are maintaining, so we can use TCP connection. So it is purely reliable. And then in coming to the application layer, we might be using something called as HTTP. That is nothing but Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Now, coming to the API, so for these applications to provide the interfaces, we already discussed in the first unit related to the sockets. So we have WebSocket and REST. Mostly we will be using REST-based applications, okay, API. Coming to the services, what services we are going to provide? We have already discussed in the previous step, service specification. We have three service specifications there. What are those? Mode specification, state services, and then controller. Controller is the one who is going to control, monitor the systems and based on that take action. Mode means whether it is an automated mode or a manual mode, that will be determined. State means whether the state of the light is turned on or off. That is represented by using these services. And management, if you talk about what are the functionalities need to be executed, like configuring the systems, configuring the devices and all, that will be taken care by this particular management. And what about security? Yes, we need to provide security. So what kind of security we need to provide? We need to provide security related to authentication, means only a valid user should be able to access it, only the owner of that particular application. Authorization, except owner, no one should try to authorize it, he is able to access it. Data security, since we are storing the information in the local database, that information would be secured. No one other third party cannot try to access it. Since everything is connected with the help of the internet, so within a network, there is a possibility of hacking and that should not take place. And finally, we need to develop an application using some software like Java or something. Here we are using Python as a software in order to develop an application, web-based application. Okay, and what is the platform we use here is something called Django. Django is the platform framework we are using in order to write a programs in Python and develop the different kind of applications. Okay, so these are the functional. So I will show you diagrammatically. You can see this. Here it is. Yeah, you can see the diagram. I think you people are familiar with this diagram. We have seen in the first unit. So here if you see, we have applications here, services, communication, devices. We have management, security. Now this is the level 1 IoT what we are using. Now we are communicating. If you see your application here, this application is actually mapped with what thing, whatever the application the user is using, that should be security. So it is mapped with the security. Means whatever the app the user is using in his smartphone, it should be secure. It should be authenticated. It should be authorized. So that's why this particular app is mapped to security. And apart from that, it is also mapped to the application, because whatever the web applications we are designing that are present here, using HTTP we are accessing. So this is mapped to this. And again, apart from that, it is also mapped to data management. Why management? Since the application might be reading some data, that data need to be stored in the database. That's why. So this management has application here, application management, database management, and device management. Okay. I hope you people understand or understanding this particular concept, how it is managed. So what we are doing exactly here is, we have seen these concepts separately. Now we are integrating and seeing how these are getting mapped with everything. If you say REST-based web application, we know this is a communication API. Communication API, where exactly it is here. So this will be mapped to this. Okay, and it is also mapped to the services. What are the services provided by this particular? So native services means controller service. Web services are not provided using REST. Same way controller services there, so it will be linked to the service. Okay, so the programs related to this we need to write here and map it up. Then resources. Resources will be related. So we will be storing the data, whatever is captured by the IoT devices, okay, the sensors that we need to store in a database. So this is mapped to the management. Apart from that, we are using different devices in order to read it. So sensors, actuators, and computing. So that's why the resources are linked to devices. Finally, the last one is device. Now this device is linked to the management as device, because we have different devices and data coming from here. So that's why it is mapped to this. Same way, these devices are going to read the data and that need to be stored in our system, I mean database. So that's why it is linked to this particular. So you can see here, I think it's very clear now. You people might have understood how this is mapped. So whatever the code you people are writing, that will be mapped to, sorry, to these particular devices. This is the way how exactly your functions of your IoT system are mapped to this particular model. This is the architecture, right? Architecture. To that we have mapped it. Same way operational. The next step is operational. So operational also we are going to perform in the same way. So operational view specification means here it allows us to provide the different operations the IoT system is going to perform, and that is what represented here. You can see here. So what are the things we have here is same, similar to your functional specification. We have devices, we have communications, we have communication protocols, APIs, services. Yeah, services we have controller service and mode service. Yeah, management. This is something new now, management. So we need to write code for your smartphone application. So here for application, we use Django application as I told you. Whereas coming for the database, we are going to use Raspberry Pi. Okay, we have other devices like we have Arduino. So based upon the requirement we can use. In this scenario, we are going to use Raspberry Pi as a database management. So whatever the data is read, that will be stored in a Raspberry Pi. And then security and applications are common to your previous one. Now this is the diagram related to it, same diagram. Now, so here what we are doing is, what are the operations need to be performed? What are the operations need to be performed by the services? So controller service need to perform monitoring, and also we need to write code for that. Mode REST. So what REST services we need to use in order to represent the mode, whether it is automatic or manual. What about the state, whether it is turned on or off? For that we need to write a code, and that is provided by this particular service. What about management is responsible for storing the information in the database? So we need to write a code. So we might be using MySQL database management. Now the application management is nothing but the these applications need to be seen manually by the user, right, in a smartphone. For that we require Django app management for writing the code. So here we use this for Python writing. Remember, we are going to use Python programming for writing this particular application, not Java or any other kind of thing. But if you're familiar much more with Java, you people can even write programs in Java in order to execute these IoT systems. Then device management, we have something called as Raspberry Pi. Now, if you talk about the devices here, what are the devices we have for sensors? Light sensor. Actuators, what we are using? Relay switches. Relay switches are nothing but these are the hardware devices which will turn off and turn on the light. Okay, so this is something like a button. Automatically switch off the button, switch on the button. That is what we call relay switches. Raspberry Pi is nothing but your computing device here. Same way here, security, we require web app and database. Again, a web app and database for authorization and authentication and all. So in order to show the web applications, we require Django web app. So we need a server also in order to run that a particular application and the database for storing the information. So what kind of communication we are going to take? We have different layers. So link layer will use 8 not similar. Whatever we discussed in the previous slide, the same thing is represented here. Okay, you people can just go through it. Yeah. Okay, before last, if you see, that is nothing but device and component integration. So the hardware device has to be integrated, right? So this is the diagram for that for your home automation system. Okay, so this is your Raspberry Pi. We have some sensors here. We have placed it, and using this, we will be trying to read the data, and based on that, we will be either turning the lights on or turning the lights off. This is for integration purposes. Okay, so mostly we have what we have here: light sensor, relay switches, and mini computer. This is a mini computer. Okay, I hope it's very clear. And the last but not the least is application development. So these are the final steps what we have. Okay, so we in the application we want to show two things: auto and light. Auto is nothing but which is used for controlling the light, whether manual or automatic. That comes under into, I don't know, okay, sorry. That comes under in this. Light is nothing but whenever the auto mode is off, the light should be automatically manually controlled by the appliances. Okay, auto mode. If the automatic mode is on, the system itself will make sure whether it should be light. So this diagram, what you are saying, this is the application. Using an application, this has been designed. So whenever you click here, auto, when you are turning on auto, automatically the system will try to detect when the temperature means whether the intensity of light within the room is light, low or high. If it is high, it will not turn on the light. If it is off, it will turn on the light. But if you are using manually, okay, so see, if you on, automatically it is on. This light will provide you the information whether the light is on or off within your room. Okay, but if you are turning this light off, I mean auto mode off, then definitely you have to manually turn this light on or off. That's what is being shown here. Since the auto mode is off, you have to turn this light on. Means you have to click on this button, it will turn on. If you click on this button, it becomes turned off. But if you are activating this auto mode, what will happen? You don't have to again click on this particular button. Automatically, this particular button will be set by this particular application. Okay. So this is another case study related to weather monitoring system. In this, I will be showing you the different diagrams what we have related to weather monitoring system. Whatever the steps we have seen, that we are going to see. The first step is process specification. Now this is the process. So this is a use case. This is a use case model for your weather monitoring system. The process starts here. What is the main task here? That the sensor should read the data, store that data within the database, wait for some time, and again repeat the process. So a few milliseconds it will wait, and again it will start reading the data from the environment, store the values, and this process will keep on repeating. I hope it's very clear till here. And the next one, what we are going to see is domain model. So if you see here, in the previous diagram, home automation, we have seen two physical entities. That is, one is room, right? Another is appliance. But in coming to weather monitoring system, we have only one physical entity here, that is environment. And for that, we have one virtual entity. And using that virtual entity, we have provided different services. Resources are common here. Network resource on device is common. So we are using a mini computer. But in the previous diagram, we have seen only two different types of sensors there, LDR and relay in your home automation system. But whereas coming to weather automating system, we need a sensor for temperature, we need a sensor for pressure, humidity, and light. So this is the way how you people have to represent the diagram. Remaining process is same here. The user will be using this application and it will perform the operation. Sorry. Now this is related to your information model here. So we have a virtual entity here, that is an environment. We have seen in the previous diagram. We have a one virtual entity, and that virtual entity has four different attributes. What are the attributes this virtual environment is having? The environment consists of a temperature, humidity, pressure, and light. All this we are reading. So that's why we have a attribute, four different attributes for this particular virtual entity. And they will be having values related to the temperature, pressure, humidity, and last one is light, means whether the light is dull, low, good, that information is there. And then finally what we have here is nothing but your controller service. So we have three services, right? Controller service here, mode service, and then native service. So here if you see, we are representing a controller service. This service is having an input. So using a time of every 50 milliseconds, this controller service will ask the devices to read this temperature, pressure, humidity, and light. All these parameters it will ask the devices to read for every 15 seconds. Okay, that is what the controller service is going to do. Do the operation. Same way other services what we have here, the mode service. But here if you see here, we don't have any kind of mode. Mode is only for automatic and manual, right? We have here in weather monitoring system only one control service. That's it. We don't have mode services. And this is the diagram related to your deployment. You can see here, if you see this, this is the level 6, whatever. If you don't remember it, you can watch my previous videos of the first unit. This is the level 6 model for weather monitoring. You can see we are using a cloud here, and whatever the data is gathered locally, that is stored in the cloud. Even from the application, so here we are using a REST-based application, getting the data from the database, perform manual operations using IoT intelligence, and based on that, we'll predict what will be the weather tomorrow. Okay, so here we have a cloud and multiple nodes are deployed here in the environment, and there will be a centralized node. I told you that this is separate. This is a rough figure, and within, so these multiple nodes are, these are the nodes. This is a centralized controller and this is your cloud. So if you see here, this centralized controller will take care of this particular node. Okay, centralizedly it is controlling it and it is gathering the data. And that data it is transmitting to the cloud and trying to access the information and performing the operation. Okay, I hope it's very clear. This is the way how exactly this works. So you can prefer the previous video so that you can understand this particular model perfectly. Okay, so we do have observer node and all. Observer node will keep on monitoring whether all the services are functioning properly or not. That information will be provided here. And next we have something called as weather monitoring system here. Okay, in this we are, what we are doing is mapping the deployment level with function. So we have a table here. We have just mapped it up. So you people can easily guess it up, which one is mapping which one. Control service. So this service is mapped to this particular, services are actually mapped with these services. Resources are mapped with the management as well as with the devices. Devices will be mapped with devices as well as the communication purpose what we have, and the security. This is related to the security. Sorry, the diagram is not good perfect enough, so I'm not able to show it. This is the previous diagram. Whatever I have shown you colorful representation, that is what the diagram is all about. So if you see an app is connected to this particular application. Similarly, in the previous diagram, this app is connected to the management. This app is connected to the security. So all this has been mapped here. Same way, observer node will be mapped only to the application. So remaining else it will not be, because observer node is mainly meant to make sure that the application is working fine. So where the application is here, here it is. So it will be connected only to this. So remaining processes same. Controller services means controller services, centralized controller will be connected to the services as well as for the applications and this particular management. That's it. I hope it's very clear with this. So these are the diagrams related to that weather monitoring system, and this is related to your operational what we have. You can see operational here. So simply it is connected. What are the operations? What are the different things we require? If you talk about communication, we require different protocols for your link layer, network layer, transport and application layer. Authentication and authorization, we require some other kind of programming code. Same way for applications, we require the code here. So here is using the Zile cloud storage, and for analysis of the data, whatever is stored in the cloud, he is using a Hadoop concept here in order to run. And in order to access it using a mobile application, so we require a mobile app. Followed with that, we also need a cloud app, because from the cloud we will be getting the data. So you can see here, either from the cloud you can access the information, or using the mobile app you can access it. Okay, but for analysis, we are saying that we need to, whatever the data is gathered, we need to monitor it. We need to analyze it. That is done using this Hadoop concept. Same way, if you come across management here, we require Django application, MySQL, that I have already explained in the previous slide. So just you can go through it. Okay, so these are the diagrams related to your weather monitoring system. So using this, we people can actually design it and can. So here we are discussing just simply, sorry, what are the services we are providing? Since I told you there is only one service we are providing, that is controller service. Okay, so apart from that, we are not providing any kind of service in this particular case. Thank you for watching.